Hey guys, this is real time. This is October 24th, Monday, 2022.
It's chilly.
It's a little chilly up here. We're still South Carolina. We have big news. Big news to share with you, and our patrons knew this a few weeks ago. Quick plug for Patreon. If you're not a member of our crew, consider joining. It starts at $3. Big news. We're quitting. We bought our old catamaran in October of 2020 to take our family cruising, and we immediately started tackling a lot of the renovations on the boat while knowing nothing about boat work. So far, we've completely made over the salon and the galley, as well as almost the entire electrical system. Now, we're trying to convert this boat into an owner's version. Make sure to subscribe, and hopefully, we're going to set sail this winter. We have big news to share with you. We're quitting.
Not quitting YouTube and not quitting the boat. We quit our jobs.
Yeah. So we have professional jobs, and it's not like a quit on a spot. It's not like a 2 weeks notice. It's a couple of month-long notice. So we have tendered our resignations, and soon we are going to be unemployed, with the exception of YouTube. We'll be full-time YouTubers. I'm not sure how well that's going to work.
The hourly rate is poor.
It's really bad. It's like 3 cents an hour or some craziness.
Ridiculous.
So yeah, but we're gonna take at best. Well, I guess at best we'll continue on if YouTube makes way for us. But if not, then this is what's called a sabbatical. You don't hear about this very often in the United States, but you do over in Europe. And we're going to adopt the European method. We're taking a sabbatical.
Yeah.
And we're gonna leave.
Yeah, so we have plans, and our plans are to head south, and our plans are to actually go to the Bahamas, and I have some tentative plans, places we want to stop along the way and things we need to do. However, we have to be hauled out. We have to get a new depth sounder in, and we have one. It does not fit the hole of our old through-haul depth sounder.
No.
So I have the option. We really need to haul out anyways. We need to check our sail drives. We need to just check some things over.
Yeah. So real quick, to be clear, I think it does fit the existing through hole. The problem is the existing depth sounder just goes right through the hole and then nuts down, and there's no like sleeve. You can't pop it out and put a new one in like you see some of these people do. So
I don't know. It's something weird.
We have to get the boat lifted, and then we'll have to take this out. And to do that, we're gonna have like a 2.5-inch hole in the very bottom of our boat, and that's not the sort of thing that we want to do in the water. So before you make that nice suggestion, it's been considered, and we're not going to sink today.
If it would fit in the hole, like if it was a simple pull the old one out and pop the new one in, fine. We were planning to do it in the water. We didn't realize there was an issue. And then the only other through hole we have that has something that pops out is the speed like paddle wheel thing.
Yeah, and that through hole is going to be dead. We'll eventually have to glass that over because we won't need it.
But
for now,
not right now.
No, we just need to get this one done.
Yeah,
escape hatches. How many of you have heard about the failing escape hatches on catamarans? Well, this boat was built in 1996, and I'm quite certain these are original. And when we put a little bit of pressure on the plexiglass, we can see that it's starting to give way. So those have got to be replaced.
Our problem is we are 22.5 feet wide. We're having difficulty finding a place that can haul us that will allow us to work on our own boat. And if we find a place like the place I found in Charleston, it is ridiculously expensive to haul this boat there, and then they charge an exorbitant day fee. Like, it'd almost be cheaper to go somewhere else and probably just let them do the work. But we're not all about that life. We like to do our own work.
Yeah.
But I'm to the point right now where if I could find a place to haul this that had reasonable rates to pop in a new through hole and service our sail drives, and then we just get to look at the bottom. We were thinking about possibly painting our bottom just to get some paint on it, since we have to haul anyways. You might as well just do it. Spend a couple days on the hard and get it all done and just be done for a
couple days.
Yeah.
That's a boat timeline translation for a week and a half, maybe.
No, like literally like under 5 days. I think we could, because the through haul should be nothing.
Yeah.
knock on wood. And then bottom paint, I don't think that would be that bad to do on this boat for right now. So we've taken a little break from YouTube just because of that. Like, it's not something we intended to do, but just we get into a project and then the day's gone. We're coming home at night, and we're also working on projects at night. There's just literally not been time. Like, we're running on low sleep, burning candles at all ends, just
Both
trying
ends
to
and
get
the middle. Yeah.
everything
Let's
done.
talk about the stuff that we've been working on.
Yeah, so we've got storage going into the side hall. You've seen some of that. We have more, actually.
Owner's version.
Yeah.
Conversion. So we built in that storage. You saw that. What was last? Oh, they saw hurricane last. Okay, so disregard the hurricane video. Prior to that, it was the storage video. We still have the shower that's going to need to be faired and painted.
We're getting there.
We're working our way that direction, and that's kind of the last point in the hall, because it's actually the least priority for us. If you can believe that.
Yeah, because we have another shower. But we're working that way in that hall.
There are some things that I can do while we're underway. When we leave this marina, we start heading, hopefully south. I can do some things while we're underway. I can fair, I can sand, I can do all those things. So we had to abandon some of that project to get going on the critical projects. So there are two critical projects that we have to get done before we get out of here.
There might be 3.
Okay, well, I know of 2, and I know you know the 2 I'm thinking of. What's the third one?
The fuel filters.
Oh, yeah. I'm hoping that's just a day job.
That's a critical project. Because the fuel filters that are on our diesel engines are for gas outboard. And they're not correct. But we have brand new ray cores that we just need to install. That's a critical.
We have engine maintenance. We have actually a decent number of, we have to order parts, which we need to do that today. We need to look at those engines before the sun goes down and order. We need hoses. And
Corey got in the engine compartments. We have done engine maintenance recently. We've had oil change and all that good stuff. Everything's been serviced. But he noticed when he was in there the other day working on something that some of the hoses on the engine are showing wear.
They'd been painted. And so that's really hard to see. But now some of the paint's flaking off, and they have a lot of cracks.
Yeah.
And so they're like Maypops, as my dad used to call them. Those are Maypop hoses right there. Yeah. So we need hoses, and these are kind of exotic engines. They're Yanmars, but to find the exact model number, I think it was maybe an exclusive for Fontaine Peugeot French-made boats. I think we
don't know.
That.
We found it on a French marine motor site. They had the actual model number, and then they had a parts list. So I have that. So we're trying to go part to part inside the engine and see what we need. Everything is expensive.
Yep. So we need engine maintenance. So we got hoses, and we've got Raycor filters that we have to install. Hopefully that would be a one-day job to do all of that on both engines. I also, now this might be more than a day, I should take off the heat exchangers and make sure that they're in good shape, because the generator, it didn't have a lot of maintenance done to it. And when we looked at it, the anode was gone. It had completely eaten away, and I'm afraid that we're going to see some things inside of the engines that might delay our trip. So we need to do that.
Yeah.
The other 2 big projects. So one is solar, right? We have a generator board, but I don't want to rely on it. Don't even want to run it if I don't have to. We own solar.
It's not installed, but it's getting there. So we have been working like mad to get the solar panels on. We have wires that we're running right now up to the top of the arch. We've got, this is all in process right now as we speak. That's what we've worked on all weekend. Everything just takes so long. And we hope to have solar on by the end of this next weekend, at least the hard panels. I have ordered, this isn't critical, but I've ordered fabric. But the Dodger, I would say, is critical. I'm ordering my supplies to get that project done. So I hope to have all the supplies in the next week or so, and then hopefully I'll be able to knock out things that we need in a weekend, I'm hoping.
I think the Dodger will become a much bigger priority if we head out without a Dodger.
Yeah,
that'll turn into a big
awful,
priority.
I would think. It wasn't super fun coming down from Annapolis with no Dodger. It was in November it was cold and the
Yeah.
wind was just
But that was
ridiculous.
north, and maybe
Well-
we'll hit lucky weather and it won't be so bad. We'll still have wind. Anyway, we got some fabric projects to do. We got Bimini to allow for solar installation on top of the Bimini, and we got Dodger.
The solar, the engine stuff, and then the third critical project is the water maker.
Water maker.
We have run into issues with the old water maker on board.
A few weeks ago, we showed you the water maker, and I
Right.
kind of put out a call for help, and several people came to our aid with that and had lots of helpful suggestions. But at that point, we really didn't know anything about it.
So we've gotten into it and it is done. It's toast. So
It's toast.
so we are, rather than trying to source
Well,
parts to put this one back
so-
together, it's extremely expensive. We are basically building a water maker. We're
Yeah.
we're sourcing some parts both from Seawater Pro, and then we're reusing some of the stuff we had, like our pumps and things are still good, and just kind of putting things together. So
the issue was the water maker is nearly 20 years old. The HRO Safari unit that you saw before, nearly 20 years old. We found logbooks on it. It hasn't been used in 10 years.
well, at least the logbooks say that.
Well,
Now,
that's all we have to go on.
Yeah, I doubt
We
that though, because
also-
we know people have cruised since then on this boat. I'm sure it has been used. I'm sure
Well,
it has.
yeah, that's true. The timeline is.
right.
The other issue is previous owner. I think it was the people we bought the boat from. I doubt that they ever did anything with it, and it froze. It was in Annapolis, and there was lots of areas that showed, well, cracked housings and other things. So
It froze.
oh,
Yeah.
it froze. The other thing that we've read with these systems are, because they are all electronic and, you know, like a circuit board and all, if it fails, then you're in big trouble.
Right.
And there's really difficult to get parts, and if you could get them, they'll be extra expensive because you're probably out in a situation where you're using it, right?
So we've decided to go with a very simple flippy switchy system. We're putting in basically a 40-gallon an hour AC water maker that doesn't draw so much that we can't just run it off our batteries and inverter. We have a 3,000 watt inverter, and
Yep.
it looks like we're going to be able to run it. We can run it off the generator as a backup if we need to, but we should be able to run it. We may have to use the generator occasionally to top off our batteries. We don't know till we get out there. We are excited to get these solar panels on and see what they're putting out. But
Yep. So the priorities right now are solar, that has to get done, followed by water maker. Parts are arriving every day right now for the water maker, so hopefully that'll go together soon. The water maker actually ties into the whole owner's hall that we're redoing, because we found a beautiful place to install it. It's going to be easy to work on, easy to service, easy to see everything, lots of room. I think
not under Ella's bed.
we had to crawl into a cave to look at the old system. That wasn't good. Anyway, I'm really excited about that. And once we get those two things done, then we can circle back to more of the cosmetic stuff on the boat. While I'm working on some of these other things, when I don't need Becky, she can start working on fabric stuff, and I might help you with that too. I don't know. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, you're better at sewing than I am, actually. True story.
Well, I don't think it's better at sewing. I think it's the woodworking mindset, to be honest,
Right.
because I just kind of see things spatially, and
I do not.
that helps us sometimes. So maybe just get started, and after you made the first couple, then it'll be easier to go around.
Right. So, yeah, we have a lot going on, guys. We're trying to get videos out to you, but at this point, it's like we have got to leave this dock in about a month and a half, which is exciting and terrifying.
Yeah.
We are spending money like mad, things we did not
Yeah.
think that we would need. So our bank is actually less than we thought it would be for our trip. So we're feeling a little nervous about all that. It's going to be fine.
We're gonna stock up on ramen noodles and make it up.
Hopefully we'll catch fish.
We'll have some fish and
It'll
ramen
be
noodles.
fine. We just gotta go. Life is short.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah. So
Let's talk about that. Hold on.
So
Let's.
I don't talk about what I do much, but I work with cancer patients, and we see a lot of very young people with cancers that are life-changing, life-altering.
Yeah, I mean, the message
any
is
minute.
it changes so fast.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what tomorrow's going to bring for me. I sure
Right.
hope that nothing pops up, but it changes so fast.
But it does open your eyes to the fact that you get this one chance to do what you want to do, and so you better get doing it.
So I work in healthcare also, and my patients, on average, tend to be retired or, I was going to say retired or older. They're, well, yeah, I mean, they're at the upper end of the spectrum for the age group. And in the last few weeks, I've told them what we're doing, and almost everybody has said the exact same thing, with the exception of like only one or two people. They've all said the same thing, to do it now, do it while you can, because when you get to their age, you can't. Your body has changed, and you can't do it. And so if you can, and you find a way to do it, then you should.
Yeah.
So this was an idea of ours that came around almost 5 years ago.
It's probably been longer than that. It's probably been longer than that. We've wanted to do this for a very long time.
I'm thinking
Not-
2016, 2017, somewhere in there.
Yeah, but it wasn't specifically even boat when it began. It was, what are we doing? We're wasting our lives taking care of a giant house and working all the time, and then coming home and working all the time, and just...
It was a lot.
It's just trying to keep up with everything and keep everything going, and then still feel like you're never getting ahead in life, and just... I don't know. It started to feel very like disillusioned with things, I guess.
We
I would say.
followed the typical path set out, right? We met, got married, somewhere in there we went to college. I was heading to college when we met. You had already completed, but then you went back to college. All of that is like cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching for somebody else. And then it mounted, colossal student debt. Started in these careers, we had kids, and then it's just like, wow, is this all it's gonna be? Not that that's not enough, but we're just gonna work and work and work until we're 70, and then hopefully, because now there's all this talk that this won't even be a thing, but hopefully we'll have enough saved for retirement, and then we get to finally live, and then we know that doesn't happen.
Right.
Most people, it doesn't happen.
Right. So we decided we needed to do something different, and that's where we are. We just sold everything. We'd lived tiny for a while. We decided we wanted to do a boat.
Do you remember who it was, or what inspired us to do the sailing? Because I do.
It was Gone with the Winds, actually.
It was Jason and Nikki Wynn,
Yeah.
because we were looking at RVing, and we were following them when they were
Yeah.
out in an RV.
We were.
And
I
then-
was like, because we already RV'd. That's something we did. We had an old Airstream, and we loved it. We would
Yeah.
take it camp in places, and we thought it was great.
And
When we were...
I was sitting in the Lazy Boy style recliner, and you were in the kitchen doing something, and I'm like, look at these guys, they're buying a sailboat. And you said, I want to buy a sailboat. And I'm like, seriously? And you said, I wanted to take sailing lessons in college. And
I did.
And my parents said no, because
It was expensive.
So-
it was. I was up on the Great Lakes for school. I went to school in Ohio up north and close to Lake Erie, but they had sailing lessons in summer term, and I was like all about it. I wanted to do it so badly, and the answer at the time was no, that's
So,
really expensive.
Jason and Nikki Wynn, now of course I think they're a little younger than us.
Probably.
But they don't have kids, right? And they were already kind of set up to be this free range couple where they were living off the grid and whatnot. So they had a lot of advantages that we didn't. We had to dig ourselves out of a hole that I bet a lot of you can relate to. And it's taken us somewhere in the range, 4 years, because we sold the house in 18 and now it's 2022. So it's taken us about 4 years to get to this point where we're getting ready to go.
And we had thought about doing this probably 2 to 3 years before we sold the house, like an RV or something. We spent a lot of time in a camper, and I was just like, why don't we just live in a camper? Like, this is so easy. Like, of course
So we
you don't
actually
have all
did
your
that.
stuff.
We didn't
but
travel
No.
because we had to pay off student debt and other
Right.
things.
We've been working to
But-
pay down stuff.
2018, house finally sold. It was not an easy market at that time.
And now,
Wish
the
we would've
house
waited.
we sold is worth $200,000 more than we sold it
Yeah,
for.
somebody's getting a great deal on equity right now.
I just am like, ooh,
It's not quite 200. It's probably more like 120, 150, something like that. And now it's starting to turn down again. But anyway, sold the
you
house.
sick.
2018, homeless. And we moved into a Class A motorhome that had all kinds of issues.
Lots of problems. Yeah.
We won't go into that. In fact, I had lots of videos on those, and I've since taken them down because that's not what this channel's about. We're not trying to put out negative energy. We're trying to put out positive energy. So know that we had a Class A motorhome.
And it was not great.
And it had a lot of issues, and it set us back probably nearly a year.
Yeah.
It set us back.
We made some bad choices.
We didn't know any better.
But I think you learn from your bad choices.
You learn
Probably more
more,
from your
yeah.
more from that than
We
your
should
good
we
choices.
should be celebrating that instead of
Right.
feeling embarrassed by it.
Well, I'm not embarrassed by
well,
it, but
I am.
I was annoyed. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
Annoyed is the
So,
word.
then while in the RV, COVID-19 comes along, and we're like, well, crap. This is just never going to happen for us.
Yeah, the pandemic hit in the spring of 2020, and at that point I was like, I don't know, because we were looking at it for a boat at that time.
Yep.
That's how we had started, and then COVID came, and it was like, I don't know what to do. Like, the boat market was kind of weird, and we just happened to hit in that sweet spot where the market seemed to be turning down a little bit before
Yep.
everybody lost their mind and decided they wanted to buy a boat.
Yeah, everybody's lost their minds right now.
I understand it's going the other way again. People tell me the boat market's going down again. I don't know if you guys are in the market. I don't know what it's doing. I haven't looked.
So
but-
we started looking at boats. We knew of this boat because of the YouTube channel Sailing Trio Travels, and they follow us. I don't know if they watch our videos very often, but if they do, kudos to you guys. You're pioneers. We loved everything that you put out,
Yeah.
and we still follow you on Facebook. They've since sold their boat. But this is the same model boat that they had, and so we felt comfortable knowing that this was a proven cruiser. It was just starting out that lagoons were having some trouble, and that made us a little nervous, and since then
Yeah.
that's become a huge thing. And then
we did look at a couple Lagoon 410s, and
It-
we almost moved on one of them, and then I don't know, there were some things that were a little nervous about that little bit of broker stuff that was going on that
Shady
made
brokers.
us a little bit nervous. So
Shady brokers, if you're wanting to do what we do and you want a lead on a good broker, just reach out to us. We'll tell you who we used. Highly recommend. Good, ethical guy.
yeah.
Anyway, found this boat. We think that this was a bit of a panic sell, maybe because of COVID, not really sure, but it was a retired couple, and they were planning to do what we are going to do, and it wasn't going to happen. We don't exactly know all the
I don't know
reasons,
why,
but
they
we know it
didn't
wasn't
have
going
it
to
for
happen.
very long. The boat never left the dock, which I can't say a whole lot because our boat doesn't leave the dock very much yet.
No, not yet, but it
It's
will.
getting ready to leave the dock for a long time.
And so we moved on this boat. We got a great deal. Should we tell them what we paid for it?
Yeah, we paid I think $172 for this
$172.
boat.
We have a loan.
We do. We have a
we're
ship's
not,
mortgage.
We're not trust fund kids. We don't have a lot of money just sitting in the bank.
Nope, we saved up enough for the down payment, and we have enough set aside to make payments on this boat for over a year. That we have set aside to make the payments so we can go. That's what we have done to make sure that we are financially able to do things.
Yep, this is our only home. We don't have an RV. We don't have a house.
We have nothing else at this
is
point. This is it.
And this boat needed way more work than we thought. We were such noobs when we bought this boat that we're just like, okay, this will be fine. Oh, I'll just tidy this up and kind of touch this up and fix that or fix this. And then we're like on the boat now that it's ours, and oh no, there's a
Yeah.
lot. And just like anytime you buy an old boat, you're going to find previous owners' repairs. And sometimes those repairs were probably while you were underway, like out in the middle of the ocean, and it was kind of like, hurry up and get this done so things are working again, and then I'll come back to it, but then you don't come back to it.
Yeah.
We think maybe some of that was going on. Anyway,
Well,
we're
and
working
then
through it.
the owners that we bought it from had undone stuff that the previous owners had done that was for extended cruising. They had undone some of that
Yeah.
stuff. So we ended up having to do new batteries. This boat was supposed to have lithium, it didn't, and it was supposed to have a lot of things that it didn't, but it was like the new owners felt that it wasn't okay. I don't know.
They took out lithium batteries and they put in the biggest batteries I've ever seen. They were like 2 foot tall, lead acid batteries, not even like AGM. And I want to say
they were
that
off-gassing in
they were
the
off-gassing and
compartment.
eating everything up. Everything was corroded, and
Yeah, it
and that was like a berth. It was a bedroom space.
right,
Like,
where our son was going to sleep, but those had to go.
so
They were
yeah,
not safe,
and it was funny.
so.
Like the day before, we were up in the marina in Annapolis. The day before we were getting ready to leave, like the next morning, and this guy comes walking down the dock, and he says, "Oh, hi, are you the new owners?" Well, we were the ones that did those batteries, and they're a mess. They're just gassing and tearing everything up. So they're under warranty. We need to get in there and fix some of that stuff. And we're like, we're leaving in the morning, buddy. Just they're ripping them out.
But kudos to that whoever that was.
Yeah.
Because you were trying to stand by your
You're
stuff.
trying to make it right,
Right.
but you maybe should
for
have.
owners that wouldn't know any better, or even who to talk to.
Maybe you should have suggested against those batteries to the previous owners, because.
Anyways, that's it. But yeah, so we are getting ready to kick on out of here, guys. We are excited. We have so much to do.
The kids are probably more excited than we are.
The kids are super excited.
We're going to feel excitement as soon as some of these
The
things
stress
get
stops.
checked off.
I think our first night at Anchor, I'm gonna be like, oh yeah, okay. As soon as everything is done and we are off the dock, I think the relief will come. Right now, it just feels like we are just.
Yeah.
And could we go now?
Probably.
Probably.
I don't want. We need to get solar on. We need
We
to get
have
our.
to have the solar on, and we need to fix this engine stuff that we got going on. But
Yeah.
but other than, I mean, and I would like to not be soaking wet if it happens to rain. So I think that part's important, because I'm going to be driving this thing the
Yep.
whole way.
Captain Becky.
Yeah. So it is what it is.
And if you stuck with us until
Desperate.
the end and you are not subscribed, this is a great time to do it. Just subscribe
Right.
to the channel and know that here in the next few weeks, we are in the home stretch. Roughly 7 weeks,
Right.
we are going to be leaving. Now, patrons are going to get live updates maybe every couple times a week, a few times a week. Our videos, I really hope to get ahead of schedule.
Yeah.
So for you all, we might be leaving in January, but for us, we're leaving in December.
Right.
That makes sense?
Yeah. Yeah, so we're planning to post some things as we go, of course, down the waterway. We were planning to make some stops and see some things. We're trying not to rush it, but also we're really excited to get to the Bahamas because that's what we've wanted to do. So I'm
Yep.
trying to balance the rush in it versus not being able to see stuff as we go.
Guys, thank you so much. If you haven't already joined our crew, consider doing that. We're going to have lots of updates coming forward on that, real time and other things. And look forward to a normal video hopefully next week.
Yep. We're getting there, guys. We're going to get a video out that's like actually something to look at.
Not just us
Not
talking
just
heads.
us. Sorry.
All right, guys. See you soon.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.